I was paying $75 a month. Guess what I'm paying now? Or what I'm not gonna pay, but guess what it went up to? $652.32 a month.
Starting in January, her insurance is going to be $400, and that is almost 47% change from 2025 when it was $272.38. And to add insult to injury, they're also changing the deductible, so that's going up across the board for this plan. So it's more expensive and worse coverage.
Someone getting their health insurance from the marketplace will be paying twice as much next year as they paid this year for the exact same plan. Like if you're a 60-year-old couple making $85,000 a year, your health insurance premiums would likely increase by over $22,000.
My insurance went from $125 a month to now $426.84.
I guess I'm just gonna have to pay a bunch of money for something that really isn't good. This is not a quality plan, by the way. This is the cheapest plan.
Our insurance premium is 400% more than it was in 2025. 400%, that is absolutely insane. All of the co-pays, also 400% higher.
So, that's what y'all.
In June of 20.
The way that it's set up.
You know what? Screw it.
This morning in dollars and cents, health insurance premiums are set to soar as the Affordable Care Act subsidies have officially expired. A lot of families are experiencing sticker shock at their health care costs.
Why does a single hospital visit cost more than a used car? Urgent care, $200. Emergency room visit, $3,000. X-ray, $500. MRI, $1,300. Ambulance, $2,000. If one company owned every grocery store in your city, prices would explode. That's illegal. So why is it normal in healthcare? People are quick to blame doctor salaries, cutting-edge technology, or inefficiency. Those explanations miss something more fundamental. It's about market structure. One big racket. Markets are supposed to be disciplined by competition. If one grocery store raises prices too high, customers go elsewhere. If a phone company overcharges, competitors can step in. If a business fails to deliver on value, it loses market share. Consumers can compare prices, consumers can walk away, and firms have to face real competition. In a theoretical sense, many small firms sell identical products with no barriers to entry. Perfect competition. What we actually have in many industries is a small number of large firms that collectively control a substantial portion of the market. Oligopolies. Industries like airlines, telecom, automotive manufacturing, and big tech have all morphed into this market system. A byproduct of markets like these are high barriers to entry, like substantial capital requirements, economics of scale, and brand loyalty, which make it difficult for new firms to compete and sustain to challenge the established players in this space. So, consumers should be able to compare prices, walk away, and make firms face real competition. The problem is, healthcare violates all of these. We don't compare prices during a heart attack. You don't negotiate while being wheeled into surgery. And in many cities, you don't even have a meaningful alternative hospital. This is where healthcare begins to diverge from normal economics. Economists describe healthcare demand as inelastic, where consumers' demand doesn't change much regardless of price change. Things like gasoline, insulin, medications, food. In the context of healthcare, people will seek care regardless of price. Delayed consumption can be fatal, and the need is unpredictable and unavoidable. But inelastic demand alone doesn't guarantee high prices. What truly breaks the system is insurance.
Surrounded by law enforcement, Luigi Mangione returned to New York from Pennsylvania this week for the first time since investigators say he assassinated United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown Manhattan.
Imagine buying a house without a monthly mortgage, or choosing a university without government loans, purchasing an overpriced handbag without Klarna or buy now pay laters, or healthcare without insurance. Hospitals would face a hard constraint. Most patients wouldn't pay high prices out of pocket. This limits effective demand. Now introduce insurance. Now patients can pay in installments through premiums. Insurers negotiate on their behalf. Hospitals get paid even if patients never see the full bill. This shifts the demand curve to the right. Not because people are healthier or sicker, but because the ability to pay has expanded. Insurance keeps demand high even at elevated prices. You got perfect inelastic. Perfect elastic. So in the sense of healthcare and insurance, meaning you allow consumers to pay in installments instead of one big fee, they completely forget about the total ticket price and only think about monthly premiums. So healthcare becomes inelastic. Instead of looking like this, you'll end up with something like this, whether it's $1,000, $10,000, $1 million. If the monthly payment is only $100 a month, nothing matters anymore. Only the monthly $100 a month, so that allows the insurance companies not to charge so much money when no matter not, because everyone's insured. Hopefully, you only have to pay your monthly premiums of $200 a month. So now we know that healthcare is inelastic and insurance lowers price sensitivity, keeping prices high. But who controls the supply? Hospitals have been consolidated over the past few decades. Independent hospitals merging with competitors, being acquired by large systems, or disappearing entirely. In many regions, what used to be many competing hospitals is now one dominant system or two systems controlling most inpatient care. This is called horizontal consolidation. Wall Street being Wall Street. Yes, Wall Street has invaded healthcare. Unlike tech or retail, hospital markets are local. You can't drive 3 hours during an emergency, and you can't easily substitute providers, which means geography locks patients in. As a result, consolidation dramatically reduces competition, even if hospitals remain non-profit. So now you're a small clinic competing with major corporations that will beat you in capital access, negotiating power, economics of scale, and you're left with no choice but to join them. So now you have a major hospital system that dominates the market. Insurers must include that system in their network, because excluding it would make the insurance plan unviable. If a dominant system is the only provider for a specific service, i.e. level 1 trauma or specialized surgery, within a reasonable distance, insurers must include them to remain competitive. Federal and state laws require health plans to maintain adequate networks, and if an insurer cannot meet these standards without a dominant system, they are essentially forced to contract with them. Highly concentrated hospital systems can negotiate significantly higher prices, often 88 to 118 more per admission for every 1 percentage point increase in market share, because they know that insurers cannot afford to lose them. Insurers must include a sufficient number of specialists and faculty types. In markets where one system owns most of the specialists, the insurer has no choice but to negotiate. The hospital system knows this. So instead of negotiating competitively, they can demand higher reimbursement rates, system-wide contracts, and all or nothing inclusion. If insurers refuse, they lose customers. If they accept, the costs rise. Either way, the hospital wins. This is market power, not innovation. So why don't patients push back? Because insurance absorbs the immediate price shock. Remember, earlier we mentioned that installment payments lower price sensitivity. You don't feel the $50,000 bill. You only feel that $600 copay. That $50K surgery you just had doesn't hit you all at once. You only pay slightly higher copays and coinsurance. Higher hospital prices become higher premiums, higher deductibles, and higher out-of-pocket maximums. But these increases are spread out across time and across people. Patients eventually feel it through rising monthly premiums, but this comes months or years after. A premium lag. The signal becomes blurred. Instead of one outage, patients experience gradual premium creep and cost sharing that they don't fully understand. Sprinkle in some power imbalance between provider and patient, hidden costs of hospitals, and confusing jargon for the insurance companies, and you have a recipe for information asymmetry. Providers have to dumb down their complicated issues in layman's terms, and the patients have to submit to their providers, pharma companies, and insurance. If they don't, then they quickly find themselves looking at snake oil sales therapies.
3 weeks ago, I quote you, FBX literally flushes fat from your system. In January, you called Forskolin, quote, lightning in a bottle. I don't get why you need to say this stuff because you know it's not true.
I actually do personally believe in the items that I talk about in the show. I passionately study them. I would give my audience the advice I give my family all the time, and I've given my family these products.
70% of American adults are overweight or obese, and last year, consumers spent $2.4 billion on weight loss products and services. Senator Claire McCaskill asked about all the online ads that use Dr. Mehmet Oz's name and image.
This little bean has scientists saying they found a magic weight loss cure for every body type.
Oz conceded that oftentimes the claims he makes about some products wouldn't withstand the scrutiny of the Food and Drug Administration, but they don't have to. Supplements don't have to have their claims approved by the FDA.
This is before Ozempic, by the way. This was what year was this? 2014? Yeah. This is a feedback loop. Insurance makes demand inelastic, consolidation gives hospitals pricing power, prices rise, insurers spread costs, and consumers lose visibility. The system reinforces itself. A common objection is that most hospitals are nonprofit, and that's true, but nonprofit doesn't mean non-economic. I mean, think about it. You have the NBA, which is nonprofit, Red Cross, Goodwill, Bill Gates Foundation, but just one quick Google search and you'll see that they still have to bring in massive revenues to stay afloat, and executives still get paid a lot of money. The nonprofit status really only refers to its tax and ownership structure, and not its underlying economic behavior. You see, they may not have shareholders, but they still have to compete in the competitive marketplace and maximize revenue. Instead of paying out dividends, they instead reinvest the surplus into higher executive salaries and expansions. If they need low-interest loans via tax-exempt bonds, they need to show that their financials are maintaining high operating margins. As we found out earlier, a higher market share allows them to bully for higher prices with insurance companies. You can charge whatever you want when there's no other option. Nonprofit hospitals still maximize revenue, still expand market share, and still pay executives millions of dollars. The incentive is not profit extraction, it's organizational expansion. In economic terms, a monopoly behavior does not depend on tax status. Market power behaves the same. Hospitals no longer just own hospitals. They own physician practices, outpatient clinics, imaging centers, and sometimes insurance plans themselves. The system allows for complete coordination and control from start to finish of the patients. This keeps all procedures in-house, allowing them to keep the profit. This then allows them to reduce competition, own more market share, and increase leverage with insurance. This also affects the supply side of healthcare by consolidating the labor market and giving less options for employment for healthcare professionals. Good luck trying to start your own clinic when you have Mayo Clinic across the street. Hospital-employed physicians are often pressured or required to refer only within their own system, this being the big hospitals. Most have no autonomy to make referrals outside of their own ownership system. Independent clinics have to pay high costs for things like Epic and things that large systems can easily absorb. In 2025, Medicare physician payments have effectively fallen since the early 2000s, adjusted for inflation, making the lower margin independent model less viable. Most hospital physician acquisitions fall below federal reporting thresholds. The big boys take them slowly through small serial acquisitions without triggering antitrust scrutiny. This is vertical integration. It allows systems to control referrals, steer patients internally, and raise competitors' costs without raising prices directly. Even when multiple brands exist, real choice disappears. Patients stay inside the system, often without realizing it. Right here we got a KPMG report of M&A trends in healthcare, bunch of jargon. The first half of 2025 was less about chasing deals and more about reshaping strategy. As we enter the second half of the year, smart optimism must be matched by smart due diligence, especially in the market where margin compression and innovation is rewriting the rules. So they're flexing their deal value here in billions, flexing their top deals. Anglos America, 4.4 billion, Ascension, 3.9, Carlisle Group, Cardinal Health, 3. So have entire teams. Right here we have another article here about health tech. These are just some of the deals that went down in 2025. And big activity, United Health Group and whatever the fuck this means, 3.3 billion. Minnesota Central Health, Cross Medical Holdings, Yale, Dewey Medicine Olympic Medical Center, Beacon Health. 35 outpatient clinics and ambulatory surgery center, 4 hospitals include Beacon. More. Mercy Health, FHN. Large hospital system operating in the same region. The goal is for them to benefit from great economies of scale and create opportunities for efficient resource use and cost savings and reinvestment. Dharma Little region. Here we got an article breaking down how private equities kind of entered healthcare. It says here, figure 1, number of deals and capital invested in reported private equity investments in outpatient clinics since 2012. So private equity has entered essentially every specialty. And essentially just jacked up prices for patients. That's all they've done. Right here, another figure right here. Number of private equity acquisition deals and physician practices by specialty. Top 10 private equity deals by value of physician practices. This looks like $9 billion right here in Vision Healthcare in 2018. Team Holdings, Team Health Holdings, $6 billion, 2017. Life Point, Cincinnati Eye, Dermatology Partners, Gastroenterology, prices shot up after deals went through since 2012. Dermatology, same thing. OBGYN, ophthalmology, orthopedics, radiology, urology, oncology, cardiology, primary care. Everything has gone up in price. Down here, it kind of shows their implications. It says that the price results found in our regression models are consistent with prior studies that found that acquisitions of physicians' practices by PE firms were associated with price increases for physician services. We also found particularly large price increases in specialties, and a single private equity firm had 30% or greater market share, suggesting that the price impact is partially explained by market power and in particular market dominance by private equity owners. Here again, 39 hospital M&As finalized in 2025 alone. Watertown merged with Soxville, Noblesville, General Catalyst Health Insurance, Cincinnati-based Tri-Health, University of Texas. So it's just flexing all these M&A deals. They're consolidating more and more market share of these hospitals. And this is what Wall Street does. There's even entire investment bank sectors that specialize in healthcare coverage. So investment banking, healthcare, they have entire healthcare departments in their IB divisions where your entire day will just be working on deals. Raymond James right here. Transaction history, these are healthcare deals. Let's go ahead and see. JP Morgan, view opportunities. Join our team. Let's type in healthcare. And here we go, investment banking, healthcare analyst. So next time you get a massive hospital bill, it's not because of the greedy doctors or the complex care or the advanced technology. It's because demand is insulated by insurance, supply is controlled by consolidated systems, and competition has quietly vanished. Healthcare is expensive not because it's exceptional, but because it's structurally broken. In almost any other industry, this would be unacceptable. The real question isn't why healthcare costs so much. It's why we ever allowed it to stop functioning like a market.
I will never pay a medical bill in my life, bitch. I would rather die. I'm not paying that shit. I went in for a sprained ankle. All they did is look at it and say, the bitch is sprained, and tried to hit me with a Bansky. A Bansky? Fuck no, boy. Y'all ain't never seeing that band. They tried to lower it down too and work with me. Fuck that shit. Y'all ain't never seeing that money, boy. Ever.